Now let's turn to that scary Halloween accident, and Lindsay Davis is here. And Lindsay, what a terrible tragedy.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're examining the worst accidents that have occurred around Halloween or involved Halloween festivities.
Halloween 1963 turned into a nightmare on 38th Street.
A blade in the candy.
We're outside Randall Children's Hospital in North Portland. This is where the child was brought late Thursday night.
Everyone knows the myth of razor blades being hidden in Halloween candy. Well, turns out it's not such a myth after all. Back in 2019, a 10-year-old girl from Vancouver, Washington, bit into a Hershey bar she had acquired while trick-or-treating and injured herself on an embedded razor blade.
Child is now out of a Portland hospital after she was hurt last night after biting into a piece of candy that had a razor blade.
Luckily, the cut was not serious, and she was quickly treated and released from Randall Children's Hospital in Portland. Unfortunately, police had no idea where the razor came from, and it's unclear if the packaging had been tampered with, as the girl had ripped it before an investigation could occur.
Hurting a child is probably one of the worst things that you can do, and I don't understand why somebody would do that.
The parents of 4 children die in a car accident.
NBC's Gabe Gutierrez tells us about the bond a state trooper formed with 4 children when they really needed someone to lean on.
It was Halloween night, and Crystal and Donald Howard were getting their 4 children ready for the fun night out. They ran out of face paint while doing the costumes, and both decided to head to a nearby store to get some more while the children prepared at home.
Nathan Bradley has been a Georgia state trooper for only a year and a half, but on Halloween, he got the call every cop dreads.
Unfortunately, they lost control of the car on the wet road and crashed into a ditch. Both died in the accident. When a trooper arrived at the house, he found all 4 kids patiently waiting for their parents in their Halloween costumes, ready to go trick-or-treating.
But he wasn't quite prepared for what he found. 4 children, alone, dressed in Halloween costumes.
Various hayride accidents.
A freak accident in Smithfield over the weekend. A 14-year-old girl was hit by a tractor pulling people on a haunted hayride.
Haunted hayrides are a popular pastime in the Halloween season, but they can be awfully dangerous. One accident befell Brian Jewell, who pretended to hang himself along the path of one such ride. While the stunt had gone off flawlessly many times before, he was accidentally killed in October of 1990 when the noose tightened for real. The driver of the hayride realized something had happened when Jewell did not perform a rehearsed speech while the tractor passed by. Some years later, in October 2001, Caleb Rebb was working at Michigan's Alpine Ridge Farms when he jumped from a tree and tragically died in front of passing customers.
Since members of the community, including students, witnessed the accident that took place on Saturday, they will have counseling services available today for anyone who needs them.
A train hits an SUV.
And you can see a lot of steel around it. That is the car that is mangled.
Vandalia, Illinois was hosting its annual Halloween parade on October 30th, 2014, and 35-year-old Crystal Anna was taking her 4 children. But just 1 block away from the site of the parade, Anna accidentally drove the family's SUV onto some train tracks, and they were subsequently hit by a passing locomotive.
We do not know their names yet. I think investigators are still trying to identify them. As soon as we know, we will let you know.
Anna died in the accident, as did 3 of the 4 passengers. According to locals, the tracks were laid out in a confusing manner, and court documents indicate that Anna was already stuck on them when the crossing arms came down. Anna's husband sued for wrongful death and failure to inspect an unsafe crossing system.
It's going to take investigators here, they say, many hours to figure out exactly what happened here.
Prank gone wrong.
He loved Halloween. His mother now is heartbroken over his death. She is talking with us tonight about what happened here.
Halloween is certainly a good time for pranks, but sometimes these pranks go horribly wrong. In 2013, Kentucky teenager Jordan Moreland was decorating his house for Halloween and performing various pranks on his family. That's why, when Jordan's sister came into the house claiming that he was unresponsive, his mother didn't believe her.
And I said, well, he's probably playing a prank on you because he was pranking us on other things that day, putting up Halloween decorations.
She was finally convinced that something had gone horribly wrong and rushed outside, where she found Jordan unconscious. Moments earlier, the teen had tried scaring his sister by putting his head inside a prop noose that was dangling from a tree. Unfortunately, the prank turned all too real. Jordan was placed on life support, but tragically passed away from organ failure.
At 8:02 Monday morning, the Fern Creek honor student and ROTC rifle team member died.
The Mississippi Hayride Crash.
But in Mississippi, the family fun quickly turned into horror after a crash that's now claimed 3 lives.
It was 7:45 on Halloween night, 2016, when Christina Shaver and her 2 children were embarking on a fun ride in rural Mississippi. A Jeep Wrangler was towing a flatbed trailer with 10 occupants down Highway 80 when the trailer was hit by a Ford F-150.
Both vehicles were heading west on Highway 80 in Mississippi when the truck slammed into the hayride. The county coroner described the scene as chaos.
The results were devastating. All 3 members of the Shaver family were killed, and the 7 other riders were left horribly injured, with each being taken to local hospitals in critical condition. According to locals, this type of trailer towing is common on Halloween as a means to transport children between rural houses. Unfortunately, poor visibility and dark roads resulted in a terrible accident.
Mississippi has laws regarding what has to be on the back of a flatbed trailer, what type of lighting, but no laws preventing passengers from riding on them.
Halloween Horror Nights, 1986.
Face horror beyond your wildest screams. You won't stand a chance. Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Back in October of 1986, Universal Studios Hollywood decided to try something new and put on an event called Halloween Horror Nights. The decision was made in order to boost business, which tended to lag in the fall season when children were back in school.
Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, back for the 30th year of fear.
The famous Universal Backlot Tour was turned into the Terror Tramp, which ran at night and featured numerous scare actors jumping out at riders. But on Halloween night, a scare actor named Paul Ribaldi fell between 2 of the tram cars and was tragically crushed to death. The event was immediately discontinued and remained as such until Universal Orlando rebooted it in 1991 under the name Fright Nights.
WALA Channel 10 and 95 KSJ have unearthed the ultimate Fright Nights at Universal Studios Florida, October 25th, 26th, and 31st.
The Romanian nightclub fire.
Up to 400 people desperately tried to flee. A stampede, but all hemmed in with just one exit. Outside the club, panic as people tried to help those injured.
Between 300 and 500 people crammed into the Romanian nightclub Collective on the night of October 30th, 2015, to watch a free concert put on by the metal band Goodbye to Gravity. During the performance, the band's pyrotechnics ignited the club's acoustic foam, resulting in a very quick and very destructive fire.
Pyrotechnics used by the band set fire to flammable soundproofing, and it quickly spread to the ceiling, causing a huge blaze.
Hundreds of people stormed to the club's only exit, resulting in a stampede and a crush that trapped concertgoers indoors. To make matters worse, the ceiling also collapsed owing to the burning pillars. In the end, 64 people were killed and a further 146 were injured. The club owners were subsequently arrested and charged with negligent homicide.
In Romania itself, though, the resulting scandal erupting into massive political upheaval.
The Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum explosion.
Tomorrow will be the 50th anniversary of the State Fairgrounds Coliseum explosion. Even though half a century has passed, Derek Thomas reports the memories are still fresh and raw.
Holiday on Ice is a very popular and beloved ice show. And on Halloween night, 1963, over 4,000 people crammed into the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum to watch. Found directly underneath the grandstand was a storage area filled with tanks of liquid petroleum gas. One of the tanks was leaking, and the gas came into contact with a heating element, resulting in a huge explosion that tore through the stands above.
I cannot understand how it happened, and it was so fast that no one had an opportunity to get away from it.
The remaining tanks then blew while survivors were evacuating, causing even more destruction. Luckily, more police officers than usual were employed that night for Halloween, and they were able to respond in a timely manner and prevent a higher death toll. Regardless, the explosions killed 81 and injured approximately 400.
It remains one of the worst tragedies in Indiana history.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The Seoul Crowd Crush.
Now here's what we do know this morning here. Every single fatality happened in that alleyway behind me.
Roughly 100,000 people crowded the Itaewon region of Seoul on October 29, 2022 to celebrate local Halloween festivities. Unfortunately, the event was horribly planned and police did not respond with enough officers or even a proposal for safe crowd control. Unfortunately, the huge number of people and cramped conditions resulted in a deadly crush that occurred around 6:30 p.m. local time.
The revelers were coming by the thousands from each side, down below here, and from both sides up above. And this alley is just 14 feet wide. There was nowhere for anyone to go.
The crush went on for 4 hours and was even attended to by United States Forces Korea and the U.S. Army. 159 people were killed and nearly 200 were injured, resulting in widespread criticisms of the local police force and even some protests demanding the resignation of President Yoon Suk-yeol.
Matt Gutman joins us now live from Seoul. Matt, South Korean authorities certainly have a lot of questions to answer about how this happened.
Do you have any local stories you want to share? Let us know in the comments below.
And she was crying that her mother was dead.
Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.